To keep or not to keep?
Hey guys, I'm Justin.
I'm Leigh.
Together we own Horrorland Media, and it is time yet again for a brand new episode of To Keep or Not to Keep. We've got 31 titles to go over this time, so going to be kind of a lengthy video, probably our lengthiest one yet for this series. So grab you a drink and get comfy. We'll go through these as quickly as we can. To start out, I had 16 films that I watched on my own this week, or actually it's only 15 films that I watched on my own. Been down in the media room trying to get ready for conventions. I've had some free time at work, so we've kind of knocked some stuff out that way. So we'll get in and go through those first. My first one, though, is going to be a revote from last episode, you guys will remember, and that is Faceless After Dark. So I said in the video that I didn't dislike this movie and I was going to keep it. I still stand by the fact that I did not dislike this movie. But essentially what I've done on my shelves over here is I have left, they're all alphabetized, and I've left room for add-ins. When I went to put this one on the shelf, there was not any room. And so I was like, okay, do I really want to rearrange and move everything down a shelf in order to get this one film on there? And the more I thought about it, I don't. The clown is not a big part of it the way I thought that he was going to be. And while it is a pretty cool film, it's not one that I ever see myself rewatching, and definitely not one that I need in the collection. So Leigh voted to sell last time. I voted to keep. If I had have had, if it had worked out where I had room just to slide it on the shelf, I probably still would have kept it. But I'm not going to add it just for that. So I'm re-voting on this one. We're just going to go ahead and get rid of it. So vote to sell. That should make you
listen
happy.
to me in the first place.
I mean, if I had had room.
Even had to try to fit it in.
If I had had room. Anyways, next up, so Full Moon Puppet Master. It is it's synonymous with Full Moon basically. I have had several of the Full Moon Blu-ray box sets over the years that have had the Puppet Master series in there for sale. And I had one that we kept taking to conventions, and it just kept getting kind of more beat and banged because the box that they are housed in is crap. It's just a really crappy cardboard box. It's not one that's like a nice display piece. So I decided that I had never really watched the Puppet Master series myself, so I decided I was just going to open it and keep it. And so I've actually been going through and watching the Puppet Master series at work. I'm not going to give a whole ton of background on these. You guys know what Puppet Master is. Essentially a puppet master, a guy who has puppets, and he shoots them up with this reanimator, green juice, just like the juice in Reanimator, and they kill Nazis and get into all kinds of trouble. So we've got the original trilogy here. So Puppet Master 1, kind of the introduction to the puppets. Puppet Master 2. And you do have Puppet Master 3, which a lot of people, Puppet Master 3 is their favorite. It is good. It's not my favorite, but it was pretty good. So that's like the original trilogy. Again, I'm not going to really get that deep into these. This is kind of your introduction into the puppets and kind of seeing what they're all about. Part 3 is when we really start fighting the Nazis, World War II, the whole 9 yards. I'm going to vote to keep the original 3. Next up, you have 4 and 5. These for me are my favorites. This is when kind of the totem gets introduced, and in my opinion, these probably have the most cohesive story out of the entire trilogy. This series is plagued by getting new directors, and each director having their own kind of mindset and opinion of what the series should be. 4 and 5, though, they bring back the cast. It has a very cohesive storyline, a continuation of each other. 4 and 5 are my favorites out of the entire series. Vote to keep those. Next up, Puppet Master Legacy. This is a clip show of all of the previous Puppet Masters and is not an actual movie itself. I mean, it is a movie. They released it as such, but it's not. It's basically the greatest hits of the films that came before it. Absolutely nothing new in this one. No reason to keep it. Vote to sell. Next up, Retro Puppet Master. This kind of takes it back, and they're wooden in the medieval times and stuff. Not a terrible film, but one that didn't work for me after watching some of the others. Probably one of my lower ranking ones out of the entire series. Them being made out of wood, they looked cool, but the articulation was really down in this one. And overall, would I rewatch it? Probably not. So we're going to vote to sell Retro Puppet Master. And then you have the new trilogy here, which is the Axis trilogy. So we have Puppet Master, Axis of Evil, Puppet Master, Axis Rising, we'll give a synopsis of all three at the same time. And then Puppet Master Axis Termination. So, Axis of Evil is very heavy on story. It sets things up. This was always meant to be a trilogy. This one's really slow. Probably the slowest out of the entire series. But it's also, again, they knew they had to get a trilogy and they knew that they wanted to do a story. This kind of came up after Full Moon, during Full Moon's rebirth. And so the quality of this one is not up at the same quality as like a Puppet Master 1 through 5. Overall, though, this one's pretty slow. You have Axis Rising. I feel like this is one of the absolute weakest entries in the entire series. It's convoluted. It's stupid. They had to replace some characters. We introduced new puppets, and it just didn't make a lot of sense. And then you have Axis Termination. This is actually one of my favorite films out of the entire series. It was a really good ending to the first, to the Axis trilogy, which the first two were crap, so it wasn't going to be hard for this to beat them. But I really enjoyed the way they did. This showed a lot of promise. It made you think, okay, maybe we're going to go back to the grassroots of the Puppet Master series. And it showed a lot of hope, showed a lot of promise. The bad thing about this is, while I enjoyed this one, I did not enjoy the other two. And so when they're looked at as a trilogy, I'm not going to keep part 3 because let's say 10 years from now I go to rewatch these, I'm probably not going to remember what happened in the 2 that I don't own. So we are going to vote to sell the Axis Puppet Master series.
I'm so proud of you for breaking those up.
Yep. I mean, the box is crap. Like I said, it's literally a cardboard box. It's a piece of crap. It's not a nice display piece. So we'll just break them up, put them on the shelf, sell the ones we don't want. I mean, there's no. If you want like all those together in a nice set, the 2-lawn box is the way to go, like the nice wood crate. Next up, though, keeping it with Full Moon, I did get the chance to watch Bad Channels. I loved this one. This one was so fun. Stupid, but fun. So essentially, a new radio station has come out. They have brought on a kind of controversial disc jockey to be the host of their radio show. He's playing, hard rock, metal, all that kind of stuff on the radio station. And essentially this alien comes down and he uses this disc jockey's voice as the disc jockey is talking. He kind of uses his voice, and as he's drawing in listeners to this radio show, this alien is basically going out and kidnapping these women and sticking them in test tubes. They never say why they're kidnapping the women. The cool thing about this is this was made in 92. Yes, 1992. Every time we go to kidnap a girl, it basically breaks out into a rock and roll music video by these bands. This whole soundtrack basically was done by Blue Oyster Cult. But it basically breaks out into a music video, which was really cool, this being kind of in the years of the height of MTV. I really enjoyed this one, so of course vote to keep Bad Channels. Next up, Slave of the Cannibal God. So we were actually looking for stuff to watch, and I kind of cheated on these. Leigh picked, I think she picked this one, and I was like, I'm not in the mood for a cannibal movie, but I actually came down here, and she doesn't really like cannibal movies anyway. So I came down here and was working on inventory, so I decided to knock out my 2 cannibal movies on the shelf. So Slave of the Cannibal God, this one is slow. It's put out by Severin. Basically what this is this man goes missing. His wife shows up and goes to his best friend, and she's like, they're saying that he went missing in this jungle. The best friend's like, there's absolutely no way, because he knew that jungle like the back of his hand. And so she basically goads him into an expedition to go find him. Little do we know, she doesn't care about finding her husband. She just wants to go and basically retrace his steps and try and find, I think it's uranium, and make her own self rich. But all the while they encounter a group of cannibals, and they essentially redress her into a, it doesn't show there on the front cover, I wish they had drawn that, but they redress her into this like gold sequined, outfit, and basically offer her up as an offering to the cannibal god. And it's all about her trying to get free. Slow in parts, not a great film. The cannibalism shots in this are few and far between. These cannibals are more the hit you with a spear kind of cannibals. Just overall, not a great film. I like it more than the next cannibal film we're going to talk about, but it still, for me, didn't have enough rewatchability. Vote to sell. The next one, however, I don't even know how you get into this one. This is White Cannibal Queen from Vinegar Syndrome. This one was awful. And I hate to say that because I really thought I was going to enjoy this one. But basically what this one is a man is tasked to go on an expedition in the jungle. His wife and daughter, they say, "You're not going without us," so they go with him. They run into cannibals, and they are, the wife is eaten by the cannibals. The daughter is kidnapped, and the man, they go to kill him, they chop off his arm, and before they can finish it, he escapes back to the States. Everybody in the States is like, "Oh, you're just crazy, you know, you've got some kind of jungle fever." They don't believe him. All these years later, he winds up getting them to understand that he wants to go back on an expedition to try to find his daughter. And they go, and that's essentially it. They encounter the tribe of cannibals. When I put this one in, this has probably the absolute worst dub track of any film I have ever seen in my entire life. It's awful. There was a lot of things in this one that didn't make sense, and because it didn't make sense, it kind of ruined it. And it's small, nitpicky crap, but it's stuff that in the end, it kind of adds up when you're looking at your film as a whole. Stuff like when the girl is little, she is brown-headed as can be. When she kind of rises up and becomes the queen of the tribe, as you can see there on the cover, she has bleached blonde hair. I don't think the cannibals had hair dye in the jungle. I just don't think that was a thing. But no one ages. The girl has aged, which basically just means they got a whole new actress to play her. But like no one else ages. The dad doesn't age. The people who go back to no one ages. The cannibalism shots in this were fantastic. They did look really, really good. I'm not sure what they used to actually like chew on, but you could tell it was real raw meat. So those scenes were really, really good. But again, not enough rewatchability, a poor story, and just overall pretty boring. Vote to sell this one as well.
Look at you.
I know, right? Next up, Leigh said she didn't care for the Billy Blanks movies, so I watched TC 2000 on my own. This is a typical Billy Blanks movie. It says the year is 2020. He's mostly human and totally invincible until now. So this one's kind of a hard one to explain. We'll try to do it without butchering it. Basically, Billy Blanks is a policeman. There has been a nuclear outbreak on Earth, and the rich have afforded themselves to dwell underground and make cabins and all the whole 9 yards. He basically polices down there with his the blonde that's in all the films. She is his partner, and they have an overlord, so to speak. And so basically what it is the overlord is wanting to basically shoot nuclear, he's wanting to be all powerful, and he wants to get rid of all the dwellers up above ground. And so they wind up killing Billy Blanks' partner, and they have this new computer program, so they insert her with a chip that makes her a TC-2000 robot, and it basically just means they can control everything about her. And so she is, now fighting Billy Blanks' character. She is going up above trying to help, the outbreak. Yeah, basically. Again, it's a very convoluted story. It's kind of hard to explain. But Billy Blanks basically starts catching on. He goes up above, and a fight ensues, basically, and they try to foil the outbreak of, they wind up finding out that the Earth up above has actually been repairing itself. So it's just the overlord basically wanting to be all powerful and kill everyone, and so they're not going to have that. So overall, decent. The thing with this one is it's out of print, so will I ever watch it again? Potentially not, probably not. But I'm going to keep it because, again, as these get sold and they move and these slips get tattered and torn, if you can get one in good condition, eventually this may be worth a lot more than I paid for it. So we'll keep it until maybe that day comes. I don't know. I'm probably looking at doing a massive Vinegar Syndrome collection purge here pretty soon. It's getting a little out of hand, so I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to go through. If I see that I'm going to be picking out enough, we'll do a video on that. If not, it is what it is. But for now, we'll keep TC 2000. It wasn't terrible, but not great either. And then lastly here for the watches that I did by myself is The Suckling. So this movie, something else. This one's hard to explain based off the nature of it to keep us on YouTube. Basically though, we'll say a baby is in a sewer system. It gets nuclear waste on top of it and becomes the creature you see here, the Suckling. And it comes out of the sewer and basically tries to kill everyone in the women's clinic above the sewer that it's in. You guys can fill together the pieces as to everything else. This one is really bad. Poor acting. The gore effects are pretty good. The monster looks awesome. I actually really do enjoy the monster in this one. But the acting is terrible. The transfer on this is not great based off the negatives and just how it was filmed. Again, attention to detail, as we've already talked about, is just not there. Your main guy, like at one point, the Suckling kind of comes after him. It gets him. He's covered in blood. The very next scene, he has no blood on him. There's no blood on his face, no blood on his white shirt. And the next scene, he's covered in it again. Like, they completely shot it out of order and didn't pay attention to the fact that, like, hey, he was bloody in that scene before. Stuff like that's just funny to me, now having made a movie and trying to piece together the parts and make it as cohesive as you can. And you've got movies like this from the 80s that have like this massive cult following that do not do that at all. It's just kind of funny. But The Suckling, again, will I ever rewatch it? Probably not. This one already goes, though, for like $50 with this slipcover. So I'm going to keep it for the time being. Again, as the slipcover kind of becomes less in great condition as it gets sold from person to person. Eventually, this, you know, if it may get up to $80, $100 for this, then I'll decide to flip it. It's not a terrible movie, but definitely not the first pick that when I go to my Vinegar Syndrome, I'm going to pick it off to rewatch it. It wasn't terrible, though, so I'll vote to keep that one for the time being. So, yeah. I had 15 titles, and we're selling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those. So little under half. But we're making those tough decisions, guys. Making those tough decisions. So, yeah. I guess it's time to get into our stack. We have another 15 over here. So in our stack, the first one is
Link.
You want me to showcase it? You show it. We have Link. So Link is put out by Kino Lorber. That movie was actually really, really fun. We picked this one night before we went to bed, and I was like, I don't know about this, but it was actually really fun. It's probably one of the funner watches that we have on the entire table here.
Yeah, it was actually pretty good.
This girl has basically answered a news article to be a help. Little does she know it's for men only. And so the doctor is he is really into primates and trying to figure out how smart they are and like them to the human. And so he actually says, you know what, you've come all this way. If you can cook and clean, you can come to my estate and you will get the exact same treatment and everything else. So she goes and she meets Link, and he was a circus monkey, a fire master in the circus. And he tells him, he's like, you can't treat them like they're humans. He's mean to them. He's hateful to the monkeys that he has. And essentially, the monkeys rise up, or at least Link, anyways. He rises up, and he's like, "You're not going to treat us that way." And all hell breaks loose. And it's kind of slow in parts, but not slow in a bad way. It built tension.
Yeah.
I think it had to be slow in those parts to build
the story. Yeah.
Definitely, like I said, one of my favorite watches of the whole stack right here. So definitely, I think Link is going to be a keep for me.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
And it's a good one that kids could watch too.
Yeah. There's not really anything in it. There's one shower. Some language, and I think there is one shower scene, like when she's in the bath because Link looks at her. That's really the only thing. Yeah. But at the same time, that's one of the funniest scenes of the whole movie because she's.
But it still really doesn't show.
I think it shows breasts.
It might, but I think maybe.
But I mean, really, that's the only thing in it, and it's nothing to fast forward because, like, again, it's a split second, but it's also one of the funniest parts of the whole movie because she's standing there, she's trying to get a bath, she tells Link to go, and Link just kind of cocks his head, and he's like looking at her, like, oh, what are you gonna do about it? So,
all right, next is Forbidden World.
So this is from Screen Factory. That was my big part this go around. I wanted to try to get as many of these Screen Factories watched as we could. Forbidden World was definitely weird. You have basically this these people have made this new, I don't even know what it is, experimental life known as Subject 20. I'm reading off the back. So they've made an experimental thing here, and they're basically trying to use it as a food source. But it's not a food source. It winds up becoming its own thing, almost like an alien. And basically it gets loose on the ship, and anyone that it comes in contact with, it kind of melts into jello, and then it uses that jello and kind of eats it to sustain its own life. And what they wind up finding out towards the end is that they can't kill it. And why can't they kill it? Well, it's because it's not just a new life form. It has parts of human in it. And so they have to figure out what they're going to do to kill it. Definitely weird. This one, for the time being, personally, I would vote to keep. I was not into this one, like watching it fully. I was trying to order some new convention stuff, and so I actually missed a lot of what was going on. Don't look at me that way. I mean, I gotta do what I gotta do. But overall, I mean, it wasn't a terrible movie. The kill scenes and stuff were pretty cool from what I saw. So I would definitely vote to keep it for the time being, warranting a rewatch on that one for me.
Okay, well, you can rewatch it on your own.
Yeah.
I would have
Didn't
voted
care
to sell.
So we'll keep that one. Plus, it was kind of expensive, so we'll keep it and kind of see what comes of it. Next up,
Humanoids from the Deep.
Roger Corman from Scream Factory, Humanoids from the Deep. Great great film. I think personally, you don't like it. I love Humanoids from the Deep. So basically, what it is this scientist has. They're trying to make bigger fish because they're trying to bring a canning company to this fishing town. And so they have put this chemical compound into these fish. And basically, they were experimenting in a lab, I think on a boat. And the boat basically gets broke into, and the subjects go into the water. And so now these these bacteria, I don't really know what the humanoids are.
I don't think it ever really explained what they are.
I think it said they were a new form of fish. That they had just been there not long. And but anyways, they wind up eating these fish. They wind up eating other fish, the fish that are injected with this stuff, and they grow like 4 times the speed that they are supposed to, and they have just enough human capability in them that they're trying to mate with the women. And they basically wreak havoc on the town. They're drawn to sound, they're drawn to light, and they are just total killing machines trying to take out any and everything within their path. It's really about the best way to describe that one. I've always liked Humanoids from the Deep. I had the original Roger Corman Classics collection, Blu-ray of it when it came out years ago. It was a mouthful. And when the 4K came out, I had to get it. So I enjoy Humanoids from the Deep. Definitely going to be a vote to keep for me.
Okay. I would have sold.
Go for it. No.
Ghosts of Mars.
So this one, another Scream Factory. Again, another Scream Factory 4K there. This one has a really good cast. You've got Ice. Is it Ice Cube? You've got Jason Statham, and she is Natasha Henstridge in it. So overall, really good cast there. Basically, Earth has they have farmed Mars into being acceptable for life. And so a lot of people are living on Mars now. Only what they are doing is they have awakened this spirit, this evil entity that lived far within the ground. And it basically comes out and possesses them, and it wants to kill anything that's not supposed to be on Mars. And that's basically the premise of it. It's made by John Carpenter.
There's a prison there. Like, that's really why they take people there, is because they built this prison. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and Ice Cube is like the prisoner that they're trying to kind of, take care of or transporting.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a John Carpenter film, and everybody hates on this movie. I've heard it all, ever since this film came out. I'd actually never seen it, and everyone just says it's a terrible film. I didn't get that. I didn't think it was great by any means. Definitely on the lower tier of John Carpenter films, but I still thought that it was decent for what it was.
It was okay. It was very strange, but it was well explained. And
yeah. I love the look of the ghosts too. Like the first few that are kind of that show up. Like you've got I'm not sure if he's there on the front cover, but the guy in white with his face all white. Yeah, the main one right there. I really liked his look. Kind of, they fight with swords. All the people, of course, have guns like Jason Statham and them, but they've got like these big swords and everything. I don't know, just definitely a pretty cool take, and I enjoyed it, so I would vote to keep.
Yeah, I would keep it.
Okay.
I don't know that I'm going to pronounce this one right. Nosferatu.
There you go. Nosferatu on 4K. Yeah, this one was very weird, very long. I really don't even know. I really don't know how to explain it, really. She is basically plagued by these visions of Nosferatu, and she gets married. She's plagued as a child. She gets married as she gets older.
This is Johnny Depp's daughter, right?
Yes. She gets married when she gets older, and basically Nosferatu can sense it, and he's like, you're not going to belong to any other man. You belong to me. Even though they've never met each other, they've never anything. And so basically he winds up getting a house where she lives, and he starts basically taking apart her family piece by piece. And he's like, you will give yourself to me, and you have X amount of days, and if you don't do it each day, I will take a part of your family. It's a very long film, and it is basically a deep dive into just the spiraling insanity that she is drawn to, and having to know that she has to make this choice between the man that she really loves and this vampiric creature in Nosferatu. And definitely different. Definitely a new take on kind of the Dracula thing. This is definitely a film made for cinematic purpose. Very high in story, very cinematic, very atmospheric. I don't know that I would ever invest 2.5 hours again to rewatch it. But again, given what it is, for the time being, I would vote to keep it. I didn't dislike it. I know Lee kind of groaned when it was over.
I hated the ending. Yeah. It ruined the whole thing for me.
Yeah.
So, but, it is what it is. It wasn't a terrible movie. It just was, it was very long. They could have definitely shortened it and...
Oh, for sure.
Not been so drawn out because it was slow to begin with.
Yeah.
But the ending ruined it for me. So, that was just...
For the time being, though, I would vote to keep Nosferatu. Again, I didn't think it was bad. Will I ever rewatch it again? I don't know. It's a good one to have on the shelf, though, just because, those, like, when they kind of dive back into the original Universal monsters, they're ones worth keeping sometimes. So, next up.
Evil Dead.
So this is the 4K Steelbook. We actually did not rewatch this one. This one's kind of a cheat title, so to speak. I had Carl pick me this one up because our piece of crap Walmart didn't get it. I'd already bought the 4K, but it was just the slipcover edition. And this was before I really knew that Scream Factory was not going to do reversible artwork on any of their 4Ks. And that really sucked. And so I like the artwork of this one more. So I got it for artwork purposes, and we'll turn around and sell the other one at a convention. People really seem to like this one. This is I think it's 2013, 2010 remake. I don't even know the year. I think it's 13 remake. A lot of people seem to like that one, so definitely vote to keep.
World War Z.
So this one was pretty fun. Brad Pitt zombie film. This is a tale of two movies, in all honesty. This is probably a 2-hour movie. The first hour sucked. I won't say it sucked. I did not care for the first hour as much as I did the second hour. So basically what it is Brad Pitt, I'm assuming, used to work for the governor.
Government.
Yeah, whatever agency. But he basically has retired. He's a family man now, and they're getting ready to go on a trip. I don't know if they're just going to the zoo or where, but they get in traffic, and they start seeing all these people, like there's car crashes, and all these people are running for their lives, and that's when they start to understand something's not quite right. So they get put on this government ship out in the middle of the ocean, and they tell him, they're like, look, you're going to have to go figure out what this is and how to defeat it. You're one of the main ones that we can trust. So he winds up going to these different parts of the world and finding out that this is a zombie outbreak. And he really starts having to put the pieces of the puzzle together because he's out there alone. He starts having to put the pieces of the puzzle together of how exactly you're going to defeat these things. The first part of the film with your zombie interactions are pretty much all CGI. Them making the big tower of themselves and climbing over the wall, I thought that was stupid. The hordes that they run in, just thousands of them at a time, I thought that was pretty dumb too.
And super fast.
Yes, extremely fast. And you can tell that it's CGI. And then it's like the second half, all of it is legit people. They still run fast, but it's not so much CGI, and it really starts unraveling pieces of the story. And I overall, just the storytelling in the second half of the film, I really enjoyed it. So definitely I would vote to keep that one.
Yeah, I would keep it.
So World War Z.
Okay.
Yep.
Once Upon a Nightmare.
Okay. This one, cheat film. We didn't make it all the way through. This one was pretty rough. Anthologies are hard, especially low-budget anthologies, and I just didn't care for this one. Got glare. I just didn't care for this one. I don't think Lee did either. I will say the opening sequence of this, where she is writing the letter and the candle, that is probably one of the most beautifully shot opening sequences in a low-budget film I've almost ever seen. Just the clarity of it, the way that it was shot, the visual of it was really, really good. Basically, it's Mother Noose, and she has written a letter, and she is sending it out to these people, and they basically, then she has a collection of stories, and she's telling these stories, and I don't know, just the anthology of it. I like anthologies, but this one just didn't hit. We made it through about 15-20 minutes. It may be one to put back in and skip through and see if some of the stories, in anthologies, there's always one or two stories that are going to outshine the rest, and they're usually pretty good. But just from what we saw, I was tired, I was ready to go to bed, and the first one that we saw just wasn't very good, and I was like, I'm done with it. So for the time being, I'm going to vote to sell. Wasn't a strong addition, but it is one that, I may stick back in at some point before we do get rid of it and skip through and kind of see if some of those later stories kind of make up for those first ones. I don't really think that they will, but some of the pictures and stuff on there look like...
If the first one is your first one, I'm going to say probably not.
Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll check it out and see, maybe, potentially. I know that there's like some gore and stuff in the trailer that we didn't even get to. So, I don't know. We'll see. But for now, regardless, I'm still going to vote to sell. I don't think even if there's one good story on there, it'll redeem itself enough to warrant a spot on the shelf. So, Once Upon a Nightmare, unfortunately, vote to sell.
Curse of the Slasher Nurse.
So this is a David Kerr film. I've actually reached out to David Kerr several times. Just a super nice guy, low-budget independent filmmaker. I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is his first film that he had made, and it shows. The Slasher Nurse now had, I think there's, that's Curse. There is like Revenge of the Slasher Nurse. I think he's made like 2 or 3 more Slasher Nurses at this point. I've actually helped crowdfund to get a copy of the Blu-ray for the third installment of it. Part 2 wasn't bad. This one, though, again, wasn't good. It was his first film. Much like any first-time filmmaker, he was learning a lot. The story is not that great. It's really slow in parts, but the gore and stuff looked really, really good. Basically, this girl is playing with her sisters, and she winds up going crazy and kills her family, something in her snaps. And years later, she's in this asylum, and she's the woman who's kind of over the asylum. She just picks on her, and she's hateful and degrading. And so basically, she winds up escaping and goes on a rampage and kills people. And that was essentially the story of the film. I like David Kerr's other stuff. He did Go Away, the other Slasher Nurse, Bloody Summer Camp. I loved all of those. This one, though, I unfortunately have to say I will have to sell this one. I just didn't care for it. I would love to keep it with the others, but again, room on the shelf is becoming a very...
real problem.
Yeah, so this one just not going to be one that I'm going to keep. But man, what he would go on to do, it would be some great stuff. All right, next up,
Deep Blood.
So Deep Blood was a Severin film, shark film, kind of it's their own take on Jaws. We didn't actually make it all the way through this one either. It was extremely slow. Basically, 4 boys make a pact. Years later, they've kind of split. They've all gone their separate ways, but they are coming back together in town. I don't know if it's over summer break or exactly what, but just the way that this one plays out, I didn't care for it. It was extremely slow. Like I said, we didn't finish it, so I can't really give like a full-blown synopsis. But the shark just looked, the blood is just like pink paint. It's like they just open a pink paint canister under the water and let it go. Definitely a product of the Jaws films. Definitely a Jaws ripoff. Didn't care for it. Vote to sell.
So. Okay, Screamers.
So Screamers is from Scream Factory. Again, another one. Can't lie, we didn't actually watch all this one. It was extremely slow. We watched about 30 minutes and I was bored to tears. Essentially what this is it's a apocalyptic alien Tremors. And it doesn't do either of them as well as Tremors or Alien. Just weird. Your main character in it is played by Peter Weller. I love Peter Weller and other stuff, but in this film, for whatever reason, he just seemed one-dimensional. He was very monotone. There was not a lot of emotion in his acting, and overall, I mean, I just wasn't invested after 30 minutes, and so definitely our 30-minute rule was put into effect, and we took it out. So, unfortunately, vote to sell.
All right. Gold Creek.
So Gold Creek was made by Plantain Pictures. I actually, Tom Devlin's company, I actually really enjoyed Gold Creek. It was pretty fun. So basically what it is, years prior, these people were mining for gold. They found some. They became greedy. Each one wanted it all for themselves so that they didn't have to share and take a cut on what they had found. And they all wound up killing each other. And basically their ghosts are still there. You have these group of friends and they're traveling to a horror convention actually, and they stop off at this side of the road kind of mining expedition thing, and they are told, hey, if you find any gold, you have to leave it there. You cannot take it with you, kind of a deal. And of course they get greedy, and when they possess the gold themselves, they basically are possessed by the ghosts of these previous people. And
well, you think they're possessed, or they just, well, they kind of are, I guess.
Yeah,
they see them, but
yeah,
then sometimes
I think they're possessed and kind of like live out what they're seeing, like, yeah. You know, overall low budget film, but I did enjoy it. So yeah, I mean, I can't really give much more than that on it without giving stuff away. So personally, vote to keep.
Yeah, it was all right, especially for a low budget. Yeah. So I would say keep. All right, Friday the 13th.
So this is the 2009 remake, I do believe. This is the 4K. I do have, of course, and you guys can't see it, but I do have the Scream Factory box set, much like all of us do, I'm sure. But there's certain things in your collection that sometimes you want for display because they have cool art. And then there's also that part where you want the clearest video quality that you can get. So when they released this on 4K, I was like, okay, whatever. I didn't get it until they started announcing that they were going to do Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X. I'm hoping that they continue on. I'm hoping that they eventually do all the Friday the 13ths in 4K. I think that would be really cool. I will get every one. Anytime I have a box set, I will double dip to get the 4Ks, even if they're individual, because again, you have display pieces and then you have the clearest quality. So I did put this in the PlayStation 5 down here. I watched the first little bit of it up until Jason gets his hockey mask. I watched all the way through that. The picture quality of this is fantastic. We actually just watched this movie for an episode we did over remakes not too long ago. You can find that episode here on our Horrorland Media channel. But we actually had just watched it, so I didn't feel the need to sit and rewatch the entire thing. But I did want to check out, you know, both daytime, nighttime sequences, which I did. The look in the cave is just insane. Overall, stellar 4K, and definitely one that I'm excited to add to the collection, so vote to keep.
Okay. Deep Blue Sea.
So Deep Blue Sea, the big box set collector's edition there from Arrow Video. Another one that I always like. Deep Blue Sea. It's not like my favorite movie, but when they announced a big 4K, I was like, okay, I'm cool with owning that and it being a cool collection piece for the horror film collection. So we did get it. We put it in. Again, another one. It looked really, really good. The 4K transfer of you're out of frame. You're going to have to hold up.
Sorry.
So looked really, really good on 4K. Leigh said she couldn't really tell a big difference, but I could, especially the nighttime sequence there in the beginning where we're first kind of introduced to the shark. It looks really, really good. And another one that I'm excited to add. So vote to keep.
Okay. And Revenge of the Radioactive Reporter.
So this will end the episode with this. I enjoyed this film. I know that me and Leigh will differ on that, but I enjoyed the hell out of this. This is one that a lot of people have asked for years to come out, and it finally did from TerraVision. I've said it before and I'll say it again. They will be the company to watch in 2025. The stuff that they have planned and that they've teased, you've got Gator Bait. Hell, they did Rumpelstiltskin. They brought this. They are killing it with what they are releasing. But basically the story of this one is you have this reporter. He is on to this nuclear waste plant, or we'll call it nuclear waste. I don't really know what it is. But they are basically disposing of their waste improperly, and it is causing everyone around in the surrounding area to get cancer. And he's like, I'm going to expose you. You know, you're not going to get away with this. And the guy says, you know what? Come on, I'll show you our disposal plan. And he winds up pushing him into a vat of toxic waste. And he winds up coming back as a radioactive person. And, of course, he's able to melt people and the whole 9 yards. I thought the makeup looked really good in it. You can tell that it's makeup in several scenes. Like you can see his throat and stuff. But, overall, I thought it looked pretty good. My one complaint with this film, and it's a nitpicky complaint, but he didn't really have to work for any of the kills. It was pretty much like, I know where you live, I'm going to find you, you go to get in bed at night, and I'll melt your face. So there wasn't really like a whole lot of like cat and mouse or anything like that. He knew where everyone was. It also makes sense, though, that he wouldn't really have to do a lot of he was a reporter, so, it would also kind of make sense. So that's kind of nitpicky. But I thought the effects in it were really cool. The dialogue is cheesy. He's got puns when he kills people. He melts two guys' heads together and he's like, oh, Siamese twins and stuff like that. Just like almost like the Toxic Avenger-esque, kind of stuff. But
yeah, I just didn't think the acting was very good.
Well, it wasn't. No, it wasn't supposed to be. The one actor that I thought got on my nerves the most is the little brother. I thought his acting was atrocious, and it was so bad that it was annoying, and I think that he tried to make it bad on purpose, but I think that made it worse, just like the way that he carried himself throughout it. But overall, I enjoyed it. Essentially, subplot of it, though, I didn't even get into that, is after they kill him, they're like, the girlfriend, she's going to find out what we did, we have to kill her. And so they're trying to kill her while the reporter's trying to basically get his revenge and kill them. So that's essentially what the film is. So overall, though, I enjoyed it. Vote to keep.
Okay.
So we do have quite the little stack of stuff to sell this week. Out of 31 titles, we have Screamers. We have Deep Blood. Curse of the Slasher Nurse. Once Upon a Nightmare. White Cannibal Queen. Slave of the Cannibal God. Puppet Master Axis Termination. Puppet Master Axis Rising. Puppet Master Axis of Evil. The Retro Puppet Master. Puppet Master The Legacy. And our revote for the week, which was Faceless After Dark. So if you see any of these titles, you want to pick them up. These will now be available at Horrorland Media, coming to you very, very soon. All the conventions. You can follow us on all the social medias and see exactly where we're going to be. I think we've pretty much got a convention from now all the way until April or August. Good God. All the way through from April to August. We pretty much have one a month. We take a little bit of a break, and then, of course, we come back in October for Scarefest. So definitely going to have these available, so snag them while you can. If you want them, you can always message us. If you're not going to see us at a show, you can message us. We can always ship. Don't forget that we do have Mothershucker along with Twisted Gables available there on our website. We will have them available at all conventions. You can message us on any of the social medias, and we can do the 2 for $40 convention special. Message us. Don't be scared to reach out. We can do that. 2 for $40, add $5 for shipping. You're going to get them for basically, $45. If you order them off the website, I think you're going to be giving closer to $60. So you can save yourself a little bit of money. Just reach out and let us know. We can make that happen. So we appreciate you guys tuning in and spending time with us. I know that this has been a little bit of a longer episode, but man, we watched 31 films. That is amazing. To have been able to knock that much out. The horror collection, in all honesty, has never been this caught up as far as watches. We're going to keep, it really hasn't. We're going to keep chugging along. Hopefully have another stack just like this for next episode. But yeah, it's never been this close to being caught up. And I want you, right now, I want you to look over there. How many titles do I have over there for this month's collection so far?
4.
I know! There will be 2 more next week that I know I'll pick up new release-wise at Walmart. But this month has been really, really slow. We've honestly... there's not much to get. I'm caught up on back catalog stuff. The tariffs are killing import fees right now, so I'm kind of trying to wait on the import stuff and see kind of where those fees lie. Orbit's already implementing some fee processing stuff, so I'm kind of trying to wait and see where that falls before we go all in on the import stuff. But yeah, it's going to be a small update, hopefully next month, which will allow us to get even more further ahead of watching and knocking some of this stuff out. So anyways, again, thank you guys for tuning in. Follow us on the socials down below. Follow us here on YouTube. Like, comment, and subscribe. And we will catch you next time with another episode of To Keep or Not to Keep.
To keep or not to keep.